My name is David Madison, the 31st of March 2020. I'm an ex-clergy atheist, and I have collected more than 380 book titles into what I call the Cure for Christianity library, in homage to Mark Twain's famous comment that the best cure for Christianity is reading the Bible. Now, there are a lot more books to help with that. These books explain in detail the falsification of theism, Christianity especially. Please tell your Christian friends they have a lot of homework to do. They haven't noticed. Just type Cure for Christianity Library into Google. These authors have stated many blunt truths. Hence this series of videos, Cure for Christianity Knockout Quotes. This is quote number 20. In the new John Loftus anthology, The Case Against Miracles, we find an essay by Dr. Valerie Terrico titled, Why Do Christians Believe in Miracles? And in this we find this statement, quote, in evaluating the deity of Jesus, Anglican apologist C.S. Lewis looked at the gospel stories, assumed them accurate, and pronounced a famous trilemma, often paraphrased as, Jesus must be liar, lunatic, or Lord. His trilemma conveniently leaves out a fourth option, legend. Since Christianity today is a hugely inflated form of the ancient Jesus mystery cult, with all of the superstition and magical thinking we would expect, it's no surprise whatever that there is a major industry known as Christian apologetics. These are the people who write book after book after book defending the faith. They have to work very hard at justifying belief in an ancient mystery cult. C.S. Lewis is the apologist that Christians perhaps are most familiar with, based on his fantasy books, of course, but also on one of his titles, such as Mere Christianity. But he kept his distance from the world of academic Bible scholarship, which meant that he got a lot wrong. As Valerie Terrico said, he assumed that the gospel stories were accurate, and even devout New Testament scholars know that this doesn't work. Especially when we look at that favorite gospel, John, whose author created Jesus' script based on his exaggerated theology. In Mark's gospel, for example, Jesus became the Son of God at his baptism. But John claims that Jesus was present with God at creation. Sure, a Galilean peasant preacher was present at creation. In John's gospel, Jesus comes across as egregiously egotistical with the famous I am statements. I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am the good shepherd. I am the resurrection and the life, the true vine. Who talks like that? An insufferable narcissist, obviously. For C.S. Lewis, it was a forced choice. Couldn't be liar or lunatic, so taking John at face value, Jesus had to be Lord. Jesus in John is so different from the Jesus in Mark. Mark is unbelievable enough, and I once wrote an article titled, Mark, Getting the Gospels Off on the Wrong Foot. It contains so much fantasy and folklore. But John's gospel took this to an extreme level, and this went right over C.S. Lewis's head. Hence Valerie Terrico's option that Lewis overlooked. Jesus is best understood as a figure of legend. Now, of course, these days Christians are outraged that some scholars argue that Jesus didn't even exist, that he's a fictional character from the get-go. They resist that idea with their heels dug in. But it's simply a fact, a cold, hard fact, that even if there was a real Jesus, the quotient of legend and fantasy about him in the Gospels is very high. That's a fact that Christianity has to face. And Dr. Terrico's knockout quote is a very helpful reminder of that.